Well, it looks like we are back with another show. Another random recap is what I like to say. Richard, what's going on? How you feeling today?
Let's go. Another episode. Starting to get good.
It's starting to feel like we're gonna cross the finish line. So naturally, alliances are gonna get crazy. People are gonna start acting differently. I love every bit of it.
The crazier, the better. Let's get some
yeah,
cheers or something.
let those insecurities start to hit. Anyways, a little bit about our show. We recap every episode of the Challenge All Stars, or we have been. My name is Ronnie. This is Richard, my brother. We are two brothers who basically don't have a lot of common interests, but this show is a common interest. So we hope that you enjoy it, and it's been a lot of fun. If you're another recapper for Challenge All Stars, like we got to shout you out too, because this show's getting so big. We may talk briefly about Challenge USA as we go. But first, Richard, on this particular episode, my question to you is: how do you rate the episode? What one to 10? This is episode 6. What are you going to give it?
I would say let's go with a solid 7.2. Or
Okay.
just a 7.
no, I I like the use of the point two. All right. Is that because somebody half-assed it on the challenge or what?
No, I think seven's a solid one. The last two episodes been pretty good, but it's not a finale, so you can't go to the top. And so the point two is just we're headed in the right direction.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a strong 6. Like
Ooh, okay.
yeah, not a regular 6, but a strong 6.
A
Uh,
6.2 in my book.
maybe a 6.2 in Richard's book. Yes, I liked it. I think one thing that has to be very gratifying for me is I have been saying that Nehemiah, for the most part, has been a bit uneventful on this season, and there was a little segment
Uh
there
oh,
where he
starting off
was
with Team Austin.
I'm stirring the pot. No, Richard
Stir, baby,
teases.
stir.
I'm teasing because Richard knows that I make these honest opinions for sure, but they just happen to never favor Austin. The Austin cast, and I also didn't enjoy the Austin season. So, are there some biases? I don't know.
I'm
I'm
all
just
for you, Team Austin. I'm all for you.
and then you got Richard who just loves the show. I'm like, they weren't that good, Richard. No, no, no. But what I'm saying about Nehemiah is I could appreciate this because there's some humble energy behind it. When he comes off swinging and does the whole rah 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 rah, well, like he's in
Like
the
every other competitor.
like he's in the WWE, and I'm gonna
Like
get you, brother. It doesn't work for Nehemiah. This,
like yes
however,
last week.
oh, don't you go against Yes is the king. Yes has the best send off in challenge history. Okay, TJ said he's he's an amazing human.
He is one of my favorites. So yes is a favorite of mine.
Yeah. So this episode is a 6.2 or a strong 6, depending on how you say it. And yeah, it's exciting. A lot of different emotions are coming out. Like what I said about Nehemiah there. As they get back in the house, we have a song that really takes me back to. I mean, I think the years were the late 90s, 97, 98. Like when I was in high school, Richard, Usher, You Make Me Wanna, which was really probably one of Usher's breakout songs, or
Ursher?
he,
Usher? Ursher? What?
yeah, well, I guess the thing what I'm saying is when this song came out, he did have a song on the Poetic Justice soundtrack, but who would have thought when Usher You Make Me Wanna came out that he would be who he is today? You know what I mean? Like
Superstar.
yeah, you're not guaranteed to be a superstar. So when I heard it back, I was like, this is a perfect song. And of course it gets you excited for everybody. It gets you excited for everybody who's in the house. We've got Kellyanne. I wanted to ask you, Richard. She is on Zoom with her boyfriend. There's some little emotion there, which is intriguing. But what I liked on this episode is we got to see where she stands, and where she stands is her sixth challenge, 2 finals, and we learned or relearned. I don't remember this, that she has heavy metal poisoning and mold poisoning. I was not aware of that. I didn't recall any of that, but it just gives you a better picture of who she is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's talked about it on a couple articles and podcasts here and there about it, but for the last couple of years, and it flares up here and there, and like she said, when stress happens a little bit more, and what could be more stressful than this type of environment? But yeah, she's doing a good job in the season so far, and she's athletic and she'd definitely be one of the ones in a long final that you would have to look out for.
And they know that. I think they know that. And I love that she stays true to her word that what she would do with the money is like a rescue sanctuary. She's a big animal lover. We always wonder why she doesn't necessarily get along with the other girls in the house, but she does get along with, or has a cause or for animals and stuff. So I think that's great. I think that's great. Shows us a little bit more about her. We got MJ, who's this lifelong athlete, but the knee is still bothering him. But we're starting to see Brad be very smart and very critical of this and kind of wondering if his antics make sense. Richard, I've talked bad about Brad. Not bad, but I've kind of thought he was less than swift in some
Brad's my
early.
boy.
And you always backed him. I was like,
Free my man Brad.
Free Brad from San Diego.
Randy's somewhere out there.
Yeah, let's get a homecoming. Yeah, for sure. But Brad, to me, is really sharpening his skills, and I like that he's paying attention to it, and he's also doing what it takes to get that guy out. You know, if that's who you don't like and that's who you're second guessing, then you should go for MJ. So I like what's kind of bubbling there.
You talked about early in the game, like, oh, is Brad playing a game or does he have any strategy? But these last couple of weeks, you've seen it more and more where he's like, yeah, why keep, why burn another bridge? Like, just keep going after MJ. I've already said, let's go. So, like, why put two or three other people in? So you could see this coming for the last couple of weeks, MJ versus Brad. And Brad's kind of coming up on top so far since he keeps winning the dailies.
Yeah, and yes, exactly. If you're winning, then you really get to talk the shit. Then your strategy really makes more sense for sure. So we have the challenge that we are looking at today, which is called Stacked. So Richard, this is a little winded rather. 2 heats of 7. Seven of them are going to run to the code station where you're going to reveal a 4-digit code by scratching the board. The code unlocks the paddle, and then you're going to take the paddle with the stand-up board, which is only going to be 5, which makes 2 eliminations right there. And then you're going to paddle out to the puzzle pieces, grab the puzzle pieces, take them back to the shore, and solve the puzzle. So it's kind of a lot of different stations. It's not as complicated as it sounds, but it does. You and I were talking about this. It offers chances for them to, not get a chance to compete. Because
kind of like musical chairs in a way.
Boom. Yes.
Or kind of like 2 are eliminated per. Hey. You see it in a couple of like Survivor games or Big Brother games. You go each station. There's only so many. So if you don't get that board, you don't get the paddle. And if you don't get those puzzles, then you don't get to do the puzzle. So
yeah, so you get the 2 DQs right away, and it's not really DQs. It's just you didn't get there quick enough to get to your lock. You didn't get there quick enough to get to your paddle and your pieces or whatever. So it makes it exciting, and 7's a good number. 7 guys, 7 girls, that's how the heats are broken up, so it should be very interesting. Winner of each heat is going to, of course, be the authority and going to be safe from elimination, and they're going to vote 2 people to the arena. Richard, this though was creating the last sabotage essentially. Is that where we're at?
The winner of this, we find out later. The 2 winners will have the last sabotages of the season.
Okay. Well, the sabotage is coming from last season or last episode is going to be Sylvia sabotages Janae. Smart move. I mean, Sylvia's been coming after Kellyanne forever. I mean, kind of like in the Sandlot, forever. Sylvia has been coming for her forever. Yet
Squints.
Yes. Within all that, she switches up and goes for Janae. Your thoughts on Sylvia's gameplay?
I guess you could see it somewhat when she thinks, Kellyanne's very bad at puzzles, and then was that episode 1 or 2 where she got flustered and couldn't do it?
Oh, that was funny. That was so funny.
Yeah, and where Janae's very good at it, so she gives the sabotage to Janae. But as I was talking with Brad earlier with MJ, it's kind of like, Sylvia, you've been talking about Kellyanne this whole time. Like, why not just keep giving it to her? Especially when Kellyanne's a yoga person, a paddleboard, so she can get a lead so far in advance that would put people out.
And also, Sylvia, why do you want to make another enemy?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Sylvia, less than smart sometimes, but she she's been
I'll
interesting
save that
since.
for later.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on. So and then Mark sabotages a very willing MJ. He says, "Play smarter, not harder." Richard, what did I miss? Like, why would you have done that? I mean, I know, was it because he's kind of like, they're gonna throw me in anyway, sabotage me anyway? Is that why he did that?
Yeah, I don't think you should ever volunteer for anything. Mark goes, "Hey, does anyone volunteer?" And MJ does volunteer, and he's talking about his knee being hurt. Like, just give it to me. Like, instead of like thinking he could win and blowing out his knee trying to sprint to the codes. But I just don't. If I rather not get the sabotage and jog to the codes anyway than just get the sabotage and literally have no chance to win.
Well, that's why I thought it was funny that he goes, play smarter, not harder. Maybe if you cut like a deal with somebody, hey, I'll take the sabotage off your hands so you don't have to, you know, do it on myself or anyone else. But you didn't even cut a deal, so to speak. And then another thing is, if you do have that bad issue where you can't run swiftly, wouldn't you want, again, if they choose you, there's nothing you could do about it, but wouldn't you want, the person to put them in a pressure situation where they have to choose somebody, potentially get blood on their hands or whatever? Why alleviate that? Like, this is not.
I want a person to call me out. Don't let them say, okay, yeah, you'll take it. Okay, there you go. Make the person call your name. He probably would have got called out anyway, in my opinion. So it's not a big deal, but I'd rather have Mark have to say it
Yeah.
than me volunteer.
And I'd almost have more credibility if he talked shit doing it. If he was like,
I don't know if you've heard through the season, but MJ and Janae won last season. I don't know if you heard that.
I might have heard something about they're really close and they only could trust each other, and everybody's been coming for them. Everybody,
because they're a winner now. I mean,
you know how it is.
Heard.
Yeah,
only every 10 minutes, every soundbite. I'm a winner.
Two sound bites we hear all the time is MJ and Janae being former winners and how they have to stick together. And the other one from the flagship MTV version
here we go.
is Corey and his kids that he has to take care of. I got a family. So, it's different for me. I got a family. So, I
Tony
have to
has a family too.
Tony, he's got a family.
Yeah, Corey and Tony.
So we have a men's heat. Kind of some eventful stuff or fun stuff went on in each of the heats. For the men, Mark and MJ are the initial DQ, the first to be DQ'd. Brad and Derek take an early lead. I always feel like when you take a lead, Jordan's just, right there and ready to win as well. So I never get too excited like, oh, Brad and Derek are really in the lead. Jordan is a he's a success at everything. So it was kind of like those three were really dominating. Something I found funny though is when Derek was saying, he was noticing that Brad was taking the lead, and he says, "Bionic Brad and his bionic beard takes first place," and it kind of pissed him off. And Derek's coming in as another confessional person of the day.
Yeah, soundbite right there.
That was a good one. And he's having fun with it too. We haven't seen a lot of Derek. I feel like we see him more usually in the show, but he's kind of been low profile, so it's nice to see his face a little bit more. Coming off of last week's Challenge Mania, it's refreshing, I think. Richard, we saw who two guys on this show.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Two guys on this show that happen to do one thing very successfully, and that is losing. Wes and Nehemiah.
Shots fired.
Listen. I'm on my ass watching the show on television.
Mark and MJ are already out, and you're calling these two the losers?
I'm just saying, let's paint the picture. I'm watching the show. I'm a podcast host, watching the TV show, eating bonbons. Okay, but in great recap style, we got to say what we see, and what we see is Wes and Nehemiah. What they did in this particular,
it's a beautiful moment.
This challenge is they okay. Let's say like this: they happen to not win, but they're used to not winning. So they, if you not win a lot of times, you get to make a really good scene. And Richard is referring to the fact that they both had sound bites about, hey, Nehemiah, that's my brother, and Nehemiah's like, Wes, that's my brother, and then of course they do cue, Paramount Plus, you're slick. They cue the song by Enya, Only Time, and you just have like this cool little moment. Richard, I agree. It was a
paddleboard in the Panama with the sun going down side by
okay.
side. Oh,
Okay, fine. Paramount Plus, listen to me. I'm talking to you now. Listen to me. Give them a spinoff. Give them like some type of travel show. Wes and Nehemiah take on, Panama or wherever. Give them the
hey, if
spinoff.
JWoww and Snooki could have one, Wes and Nehemiah could have one.
if Courtney and Chloe could take on the Hamptons, they could take on something too.
They could take on Kansas City at least.
Yeah. So yeah, you have them being disqualified, to no surprise to anybody. I'm kidding. But within all that havoc, within all that chaos, Brad wins, so that's exciting for him. He's really starting to dominate. He has a lot of wins under his belt, which is exciting.
I mean, he put that puzzle together so quick. It was a 3-tiered puzzle with what was it, a star in each level, like a little star platform you had to put each level.
Some of the little pieces didn't really match up, so you had to kind of like weigh that in too. It was it could have been hard, could have been challenging.
Yeah, and he put it together like it was nothing, unless if there was editing. It was like Brad knows where every piece goes.
Well, I think it's interesting too, where he mentioned that he significantly lost work opportunity in the pandemic. So, I mean, could that be another reason that he's digging deeper, to be able to support his kids and stuff like that, to make his sons proud? Coming off really dark years, you kind of only can go up, and maybe this is his season to win.
I mean, he's played it about as well as anyone. I never really remember him being that great at puzzles, but this season it seems like he's done pretty well with them, and he's always been the physical beast in all the other type of competitions. But if you start playing puzzles with him, it could be very dangerous in this show, or if he wants to go back to the flagship.
Oh, true. That's a good question. Who's going back to the flagship? I will tell you, and this is a great time to do a little promotion. I said this last episode too, but just if you have not caught on some of the programming here, RandomlyRJ.com, go to the website. That site takes you to the YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, I did interview Cyrus from Real World Boston and the Challenge Allstars 1 and 3. And he mentioned at the end of the show, and I know he's mentioned this on other shows too, that he is not only going to keep training and kicking ass for Challenge Allstars, but he wants to go back to the regular, flagship show as a 50-year-old. So that's saying something. And maybe him and Brad will go back. Who would you say of the cast members could kind of dip back into the regular show, Richard?
I mean, if you want to put people like Bananas and Wes and CT's still at the flagship, but they could all be all stars. I wouldn't mind seeing old school versus new school with all those guys on one side and then all the new young bucks on the other side.
Oh, I
kind
like
of
that.
like one team versus a couple seasons ago they did USA versus the UK. So if they did like old school, new school, that would be a pretty cool little challenge that I could see getting huge ratings for the flagship.
See, that's a theme we like. This whole spies and allies and double O agents, blah blah blah. Keep it fun. Keep it Battle of the X's. We like that one. Battle of the Seasons, or old school versus new school. Keep it simple. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get that.
Go ahead, TJ. Take that down. Season 40. What are we in? 38 right now? Let's go. Season 40. Old school, new school. Let's go. Godfather's the top guy for that one, and then we'll find who would be the top. I guess the oldest person of the young team would be the team captain of that. Maybe Corey, because he's got a family.
He's got a family. So in the women's heat, we got Veronica and Sylvia. They DQ early on, which was after you scrape the little piece there to get your code, and you try to take it to the lock, and you don't move on. So they're out of it immediately. Veronica is a little bit frustrated about it. In her confessional, she says that it seems like we have all been helping Ronnie, but Ronnie hasn't really been helping us. Now, she didn't say
Ronnie.
I know, what a good name, Ronnie.
You haven't been helping out.
Veronica was talking about me.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, come on, Veronica. But no, Ronnie from Road Rules originally. And I will have you know that Ronnie's Instagram is Ronnie from Harlem, and I also lived in Harlem for 4 years. So
See?
yeah, I love Ronnie. But what do you think about that? I sometimes feel like the people who don't vocally express all their conniving ways, they tend to get sort of beat up by the very manipulative, or I don't want to say manipulative, Veronica, but the people that are a little swifter at kind of throwing out things and reasons why you should go versus why I should go. But I kind of took that as a resentment. Veronica, what have you been doing to help Ronnie, and what hasn't Ronnie been doing to help you? Like, it worried me as far as, is that a foreshadowing of something?
Well, I guess Veronica's been in the top three, so she has been in authority, which I don't think Ronnie has.
Oh, good
So I
point.
guess you could say that. But, in all these shows, all it takes is one person of your alliance getting thrown out and losing, and it could shake up the whole alliance and the whole game. So we haven't seen any of that yet because the whole treehouse has been intact, but you never know what's on the horizon.
Within this competition, you still have Naya is sort of in the lead, but then she loses her lead. Really, this is a competition sort of based for Kellyanne. Yeah, she's not good at puzzles, but she's great at like yoga and all of these like outdoor athletic things. So something to keep in mind is that Kellyanne is strong in that way. Um, there was a quote, Richard, or a message that came up. I forgot. Kellyanne dated who? Wes?
Your boy Wes. Talk to your boy Wes. How do
Why
you
don't I
not
remember
remember?
that at all?
It's because you hate Wes that much. You're like, when did they get together?
Maybe when he was explaining it in the confessional was uneventful. I don't know.
I
The
don't
word of the
know.
day, uneventful.
I don't know what season it was, but there was a season they were actually together on the season. I remember them. It might have been like Fresh Meat or somewhere around that time when they were both pretty young. And I remember Wes clearing out a whole room so he could get for just him and Kellyanne.
Aw. If
Yeah.
anything, he's
But
probably
he was a douche to everyone else. But he got the room he wanted.
I think he just posted a picture on Instagram of his wife and like when he proposed to her or whatever. If anything, Wes is, because he's such a showman, he's very theatric. I imagine him being such a good like boyfriend and husband. So that I could at least see. As
Wait,
much as
wait,
I
wait.
talk about
Alert,
him.
alert. Is that something nice you said about Wes?
Richard, see, Richard, you gotta listen. I don't talk bad about Wes. I just whatever
Don't
is
talk good about him.
no, it's whatever's across the screen. If it's complimentary, if it's a compliment, I'm like, or it's complimentary to your good energy. Of course, I'll be like, oh, that was great. If it's something that's lame, I say it's lame. That is what my job as a podcast host is. I don't really say, let me look for Wes and let me find his faults. No, I'm open if he could ever be interesting. It just doesn't happen that many times.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, he'll be fine. I think we just basically pitched a spin-off show for him and Nehemiah to travel the world. They'll be great.
Yeah, that was nice of us. I told you, Wes and Nehemiah taking on Kansas City.
Totally. Can we work on production on that? Actually, I want to produce the show.
Maybe it could be Wes's production. He's doing reality shows nowadays, isn't he?
Yeah, he's active. He's active in all of his different entrepreneur things and making money. So he's got a great life. He's got
a monster truck,
which is fun, I suppose. Richard, he has a monster truck too.
Oh yeah, there's the season way back in the day where he's telling everyone off. He's like, I got money, blah blah blah, and a monster truck. And it made all the clips of everyone saying, well, Wes has a monster truck.
They're like, and
yeah.
So another thing that is going on here is we're kind of getting closer, and there was 5 and now down to 3 women. Kayla and Anaya were DQ'd. The top 3 are going to be Ronnie, Janae, and Kellyanne. A song that I love, the Hughes Corporation, Rock the Boat, came on, and it was just like, don't rock the boat, don't tip it over, basically. And we have a quote that came up that I really liked, and it was like, I'm completely expecting a Kellyanne meltdown. And I think that was Derek. It had to be Derek or Wes that said that, because the stress that she pushes off when she's doing a puzzle is quite interesting. And it was interesting the last time too, because then she famously said, somebody told her, calm down. She goes, I'm typically not like a calm person. And I think of that all the time, because I too, Kellyanne, am not that calm.
Yeah, I mean, and then looking at this puzzle that Brad put together so quick, it's pretty much Kellyanne and Ronnie all together getting to the third level right away. You're like, dang, one of them's going to win. And so
Yeah.
the wind was kind of blowing, so you weren't sure on that either.
Yeah, it seemed more stressful than it was, as far as us watching it. Had to be really, really difficult. Now, Ronnie unfortunately made a huge error. She had that crucial piece that was on the bottom of the
Huge mistake.
I feel bad because it's a huge mistake, and then knowing that Veronica is already kind of starting to see, like, is Ronnie carrying her weight, kind of a deal. It was fine. Ronnie took it with a grain of salt, but like, this is a challenge, and you will go home if your alliances aren't tight or whatever. So I'm a little worried for her. And like you said, she has not been in an authority, even the traditional 6-person authority. I'm a
Yeah.
little worried. I'm a little worried.
Yeah, and then when it's pretty much her and Kellyanne, and then Kellyanne drops her whole thing, right? Was it all 2 levels or all 3 levels? And
Well, it
you're
all
thinking
comes.
that's the meltdown. Here it comes.
Yeah. I think it was either right before that or after that somebody stated that. It had to be Derek. I'm completely expecting a Kellyanne meltdown. Put it on a t-shirt, somebody.
But then you just hear her say, "I'm not going to melt down. I've done this. I'm not. Just stay calm. Just stay calm." And her little confessionals during this whole time, and she gets it together and gets back into the race right away.
Yeah, and to not have any real teammates, I'm so proud of her. She sticks with it, has a good head on her shoulders, and makes it happen. And Kellyanne wins. So that was kind of an exciting moment. Well, exciting to her, to every cast member, to TJ, but not Sylvia. And we'll talk about that in a second.
I mean, we could go right now if you want to go.
We'll talk about it when we bring up Naya, kind of breaking down the
Okay.
information. Kellyanne wins, so that makes the authority herself and Brad, which is like we were talking about a second ago, which will be now created as the last 2 sabotages, totally alerting everybody that we are down to the wire. Allstars 3 is, got to start thinking, who do I want to run the final with, who and why, and I think that's a level of nerves that really starts to kick in. They come into the house. It's the song "Float On" by Modest Mouse, a great little song there. And as we were saying a second ago here, Naya explains to Kellyanne exactly what Sylvia did. Richard, take it away of how you interpreted what Sylvia did when Kellyanne won. Mind you, that win was a really big win for her.
Yeah, I mean, Naya tells her like, "Hey, we're all happy for you. You know, you did something you don't do." And Sylvia, do you have the quote down 100% on what Sylvia says, because it is not nice. It
Oh
seems really
no,
petty.
I didn't have it fully down, but it was something in the vein of, just shoot me if I ever brag, or like jump up and down for winning a competition like that. And it didn't sit well with any of us. Like, come on.
And Sylvia's been doing this the last couple. Like, it's one thing they say, "Hey, not everyone has to like each other." I get it. Okay, yeah, not everyone has to like. But when you throw in the little petty, little high school below the belt comments over and over, and like saying like, "Just shoot me if I ever celebrate like that," and this is like a puzzle that Kellyanne knocked it down, didn't get flustered for once, came back and won. It was a really big win. She's all by herself, and you're not allowed to celebrate. And then Sylvia just kind of, it's that pettiness that you hate to see in people, and you're kind of like, are we in high school? Like, if you don't like her, just let it be. Like, do you have to comment and keep badgering her? And you hear it throughout the show, like even when she was talking about the sabotage. Ooh, I just say in front of Kellyanne to make like see what she does and all that. It's like, come on, like we're not 6. Get out of the playpen.
I think Sylvia has a case of she thinks she's running shits going on, because that's what happens when you're on the treehouse. You develop something, it wins every time. You basically were controlling the house each and every episode or challenge. And the first level of that fracturing, then you kind of aren't a good sport. No one's going to be mad at you for talking shit. Try not to be too obnoxious, but that's part of playing a game. You get excited, but
Yeah,
when
you
you
could not like someone, but
yeah, it
it
didn't
comes
look
out
good.
like jealousy and like pity. Like, yeah, it just doesn't come off well.
It felt like she should have been more humble and been like, I don't know. Like, if you really think about it, Kellyanne has been busting her ass going up against you guys, and you guys been kicking her ass episode after episode. Maybe she's just tired. Maybe she's happy to have something going for her. I like Kendall. Kendall's gone. Okay, well, I don't necessarily like Beth, but she could be a number. Beth is gone. Beth is gone. Like, it just Kellyanne hasn't had anything all season. She wins something she's not good at. Let's all clap for her. So it didn't really sit well with me, and apparently you too. She talks to her stepson. I wrote a note. There's this little moment. She's talking to her stepson. I wrote Z's because it was boring. She like it's like when somebody acts the way they do, you suddenly don't like all their other actions. And I was like, okay, let's wrap it up over here. Let's get to the next part of the show. It just was a scene I don't think I needed to see. Yeah. So this is not the best loving Sylvia episode as far as our judgment. It could always change, though. We're not always. We're just as we see it.
I
Am I
mean,
right?
you never know. You're in stressful situations, so I don't want to put everything on Sylvia. Maybe she does look back at this and goes, "Oh, that's a bad look," and maybe production put this her talking with her stepson in to kind of humanize her because it did seem pretty like low blow. Like she would go out of her way to put Kellyanne's name in her mouth and like belittle
Right.
her in
Yeah.
different ways. It's like,
Well, and I'm not flashing forward, but even as this episode ends, she's still going on. And I think just so you know, if you're listening right now and you're like, dang, why is Ronnie or Richard coming so aggressive towards Sylvia and that comment? Like, are you really that into defending Kellyanne? No, it's not that. It's just it was so consistent, And I'm
yeah,
not.
and it's anyone that's
But
being belittled and stuff like that. And like I
yeah.
said, maybe it's the stress, maybe it's the house, and so like we're not in that situation. So
That's right.
um,
We're eating bonbons on the couch. And we're doing what we do good, which is podcasting. That's the reason you're not watching the Ronnie and Richard challenge. No, 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 no.
or maybe it's her way to get casted for next season. Who knows?
It could always be that. Richard, can we flip to the birthday party? So we have a birthday party. Nehemiah is one of the members that we're celebrating. Even though things have been uneventful for him, he's been sort of in the shadows. But I'm being a little nicer. Nehemiah, he deserves his birthday party, and maybe there's some reshifting in his life that's going on. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen with him in the future. One thing at the birthday party, or what did you have anything from the birthday party, a takeaway? Because I wanted to say something about Kayla.
No, not too much. But just like last week, how we said they went to the club, and it's like it's getting towards the end of the game, so you're not seeing as much partying as we did in the
Yeah,
first couple of weeks. It's more strategy.
it's like they walk in and dance in a little bit. I think Yes made that comment. He's like, the DJ's playing, the music's on, the drinks are going, but it's just straight strategy. And the same thing here, they're like just like for sake of visual effects, and the camera, you got them like having a little bit of fun, but it's right to like, how am I gonna preserve my name in this game? One thing that I thought was a dwelling would be the word, failing, a failing confessional was Kayla. She said something along the lines of, well, we've been firing shots at each other week by week or something like that. I can't remember what else she said in regards to that, but the first thing I was like no, you have not been firing shots back and forth, or firing shots at each other. You and the treehouse have been, every chance you can go for Kellyanne or Kellyanne's group, you've been going for them, which is also rightfully so. But the idea that they were coming for you too, they weren't coming for you ever. I thought that was sort of an interesting confessional.
Yeah, I mean, the treehouse is being more and more known throughout the season, so I would I believe at the start they didn't know, but yeah, about halfway on, it's been treehouse has always been going after Kendall and Kellyanne, who are and would be two really good competitors in the final. So why wouldn't you go after them? But yeah, the shots back and forth, they haven't really started until I would say this episode.
Yeah, it was two things. It was that Kayla's been having some good confessionals, and now they're starting to not be as interesting. And she does that little like smirk while she says, "Well, we've been firing shots at each other, week after week," and it's like that didn't happen. No, that didn't happen. Like you guys went for it, which is great. You have prerogative to do that. But they didn't. No, they didn't do that. They didn't.
I
It's
would
not.
say they're not as exciting, the confessionals, but they're probably better than anyone else's confessionals that's a female on the female side, unless if you like Sylvia's.
Um. Well, I actually do have a note here in my notes.
Oh, here we
And
go.
this is after Sylvia's pleading her case with Kellyanne, and they have their moment. So I'll ask you what how that moment made you feel in a second. But I did want to tell you that in my notes it says Sylvia is miserable, capital miserable, in her confessional. Richard, it's like I blocked the whole thing out. I have nothing against Sylvia, and again, just like when we talk about Wes or whoever, I am just judging what I'm seeing, and that's it. I'm not like, if next week. Oh wait, that doesn't exist for her.
Uh-oh.
But I'm saying if Kayla, if next week Kayla has great confessionals, I'll be able to be like, oh, give her the winner, confessional person of the week. I just judge based on what I am seeing. And I wrote a note that said Sylvia is miserable in her confessional. I can't even top that. I can't. That was it. That was the scene. Like that was it. What did you think about them two? Kind of hanging out together.
Oh, it was hard to watch. I'm
It was
like,
hard to
just
watch
move on.
because of Kellyanne's assertiveness, or what?
No. Just because Sylvia was like, oh, just hearing you saying where she doesn't want Kellyanne there, and Kellyanne knows that she doesn't want her there, and I think Kellyanne even says something like, "I'm not buying any of this stuff that Sylvia's offering, so why would I even believe her?"
True. And yeah, well, that was the thing. Kellyanne's trying to talk to her about stuff, and Sylvia was only one sided. Well, I could have put you up for sabotage. I did this, and we saved you. Like that was maybe not the way to plead your case. Really, that's not really the way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, and to say like, "Oh, I sabotaged you once, but not twice, so we're good." And
Yeah, like
I
kiss
took
the ring. Yeah, shut
right.
up. Yeah.
Oh, but you took out my best friend, but just all these little things. I was like, all right.
But was this the moment that we have Kellyanne say it has been known, it is a fact that you had said something about the way I won? I give Kellyanne credit for that, for stepping up.
Well, at the end, she was like, you know what? I'm done being nice to you guys. Like, you guys.
But she
haven't been
didn't say
nice
it
to
that
me.
mean though. She didn't even say it mean at all.
Yeah. So
And
I get it.
this was all before the authority, so it's certainly not the way Sylvia should try to play her game. You know what I mean? If she is on the chopping block or she feels like she should, this is just not maybe strategic. I would say.
Well, because I would think Kayla's a stronger person to go after.
Unless Sylvia just had this, unless she just had this attitude where like, I don't even want to waste time trying to chat with you. You're already sending one of either me or my best friend in. So if Sylvia was going in it with that level of energy, maybe I could see it. But I missed the conviction of Sylvia. I wasn't convinced myself. No, she didn't.
It seemed disingenuous, but like I said, I think Kellyanne's best move would throw Kayla in. Well, do you want to move to authority? I guess we could.
Yeah, let's move to the authority. So, okay, Brad, Kellyanne are protective of their votes within the authority. This authority almost seemed like they were going to get in an argument. Did it seem like that to you? I was like, no. It was like Brad would say something, she would say something.
Well, it was weird because
I was like, none of them even said that. And all she said was, "Oh yeah, I'd be flexible with this, but I'd like to have an opinion with the women." And then Brad's like, "Oh, so you got to be fair. You want to control this and that." I was
they
like,
were
Brad,
kind of like aggressive, but on the
she didn't say that.
But on the same side and thinking the same thing.
Yeah, that's what.
It just came off weird, but it was like, yeah, we're talking about the same stuff, but.
I was like, you guys, let me moderate. I need to get in there. They're gonna fuck up their own votes. Brad's gonna vote, and he's gonna end up nominating his number one just to spite Kellyanne. And I'm like, Kellyanne didn't even say nothing. Kellyanne's gonna throw herself in. TJ, I would like to throw myself in. Why? Because Brad really pissed me off. Like, It just felt so weird to me, and I'm glad you thought the same. I was like,
But
what is happening here?
I don't know if I thought it was as crazy as you do, but it was a different energy when you kind of had an idea that what they were going to do is what they did at the end, like before they even went in.
TJ, we've been talking long and hard, and in fact, there's going to be no nomination. Me and Brad decided to go home.
You know what, TJ, we're throwing you in instead.
Oh my god, we're throwing TJ. TJ, how you like that? See, expect the unexpected.
Plot twist.
Oh, jeez. How you want to run TJ's final now?
It's now Brad and Kellyanne's final.
Okay, so yes, it just was a little off to me, and I was like, "What am I watching?" Somebody get straight to your point. And yes, it was the same point. So essentially, Brad was always going to choose MJ, and I assume essentially Kellyanne was always going to choose Sylvia. There's a quote that comes up. Thank you, Brad, you dumbass. That was through MJ. Was that a shock for you to hear?
Nah, I mean, come on. He knew he was getting thrown in, and once he had to say something once he got thrown in.
Yeah, but
So,
MJ who showcases
I would have called
himself.
someone a dumbass, even if, hey, dumbass, you threw me in. All right.
Yeah, but MJ
No,
showcases
wasn't.
himself like this more
It
grown up.
wasn't.
Yeah.
No, but it wasn't. I didn't take it as like he was angry. I mean, he's not happy, but I didn't take it as like mean. But I was just like, you fucking dumbass, I'm going in.
But you're saying that knowing it's going to go on the edit and then Brad's going to see it later. But then
Yeah,
again,
but
we all talk. I've talked already on our show. So all right. In the arena, we have MJ who gets to choose. He chooses Derek to Mark's disappointment. Mark then alerts to the confessional, at least that Derek was his number one. So that's something to look out for. That Mark and Derek are, in a big alliance there together. And Sylvia chooses Naya, and Naya is less than happy. So I don't know who was the other choices for Sylvia. She could have chose Veronica and Kayla, which would have ruined her thing because those are her people. And
there's only two choices. It was Janae or Naya. She thought it was a puzzle, and Janae's good at puzzles, so she went for Naya.
So why would Naya be mad if there's only one other choice? Like it's kind of to be expected. She's not going to pick her two alliance members, and she made.
No, you gotta get mad. It's anytime you get thrown in, you get mad. You call him a dumbass.
Look at Richard. We watch the show different. I'm over here with the perfect etiquette, and Richard's like, no, call him a dumbass. Who cares?
Get in there. You gonna call me in? All right, let's go.
Well,
you got to turn the switch.
It pumped the fire for Naya. Yeah, Naya was like, I'm going to win. Well, the game was called Starstruck. It's a vertical maze with 3-star cutouts along the path. Then you aim to free the pole along the maze, grabbing those stars, and then use that pole with the stars to score a ball in the hole. A little simpler than all that sounds, and that's just the way this challenge is. Wes alerted to the challenges being so unique that pretty much anyone could win. It's not like the old days where you're like, oh, wow, I don't want to go up against a CT because the hall brawl, he's going to mess me up. There are these challenges that have a lot of different little points that you have to get through. And being bigger doesn't necessarily make you win, and being faster doesn't necessarily make you win.
It seemed about as fair of a arena challenge that you could think of. So yeah, size doesn't matter.
I will still say that the one from last week was still one of my favorites.
I like this one. Last week was good too. But so
gives everyone a shot to win, kind of.
Yeah. This one has a little bit of skill and puzzleness with the maze. You got to figure your way through, but then it has a little skill because you got to hit the ball from a distance into the little hole. Kind of like pool, like you're trying to hit into a pool pocket.
I thought it was going to be 3 times, but I guess one was hard enough. I thought there was going to be like one more element, and then you gotta hit it in the hole 3 times, but no, just once. That's all it took. Within the women's round, it was kind of nothing much to speak upon other than Naya moves a little quicker, and she does beat Sylvia. I felt like they were both standing upright and kind of bending over in a weird way. I felt like they should have maybe like squatted a little bit more so they're not putting a lot of pressure on their back. But that was the only thing that I noticed as challenging in this particular challenge, just like the way they were doing it. But Nia wins, and that's great. Jordan's happy about it.
One shot and done. I
One and
mean,
done. Yes.
one and done.
How long did you think this took her to do, like time wise? Like was it about 10 minutes?
Nah, I would say less, like 5.
Like 5 minutes?
Like the maze probably took 4.5, and then her one shot.
Yeah, that's good, and she needed that too. Um, she's got Jordan as an ally, and she gets those stars. That's a good momentum. If I were Nia, I would be not that she doesn't try every week, but I would really be trying to win the challenge next week. That would really set up some great momentum for her if she's the authority next week. That would be really good.
Well, she's got to see that she's not with the treehouse, so like
Yeah.
you got to believe that now that Sylvia's gone, it's her going against Kayla, Veronica, and Ronnie. And probably Kayla and Veronica first, Ronnie probably last.
Yeah, true.
So, like I said, you never know. Like, maybe they break up as a treehouse, as an alliance, and Ronnie knows she's kind of on the bottom. Maybe she goes with Diane Kellyanne. We don't know. But, you know, things change quickly in games like this.
We don't know, but we'll be watching.
Oh, yeah.
You know what we know is that Kellyanne said, it's almost like she said it such a, oh, she said, Kayla looks really lonely by herself. and then she smiles. And that's referring to, you know, this is like all these competitors who were so strong and so, you know, take no prisoners and really kind of just doing their own thing and dominating. It's not the same once you start losing those numbers. And that was somebody who made Kayla feel very comfortable with Sylvia. And yeah, Sylvia, I did not like. And if you were listening to the earlier part of the episode and you were like, God, they were really hard on Sylvia, I did not like hearing the yelling of "fuck off, Kellyanne." Like that's just like that's that level of like.
Well, like we said earlier, pettiness and like just no class.
It's gonna make the edit. It's gonna make the edit. That's the thing. Yeah. It's gonna make the edit, but you know, even the people. Oh, finish your point, Richard. I'm sorry.
I mean, that was pretty much it. I mean, I don't want to. Was it? What's the saying? Beat a dead horse over and over. But it's just okay. You lost. Like we get it. You don't like her. We get that. We got that like 4 episodes ago, and it's like redundant and petty and high schoolish. And it's like the good thing about the Challenge All-Stars is these people are a little bit older, and it seems like, you know, they don't let that high school drama get into it like they do in the flagship.
Yeah.
And it seems like she just kept on, and the more power she had, it was like the worse and worse. And so, like, to see her go home, it's kind of, in general, you don't like to see people go home, but like at this point, it's like good riddance.
Oh, we should have really paid attention to TJ and seeing what was her send off. I actually don't really remember it, but we always pay attention to that.
Yeah, and I don't really remember the send off either, which
means
good
it was like a Nehemiah, uneventful. No, the thing with her, and yeah, we'll move forward. Sylvia, is Kellyanne was saying it wasn't personal, or Kellyanne was like kind of trying to extend. And I think you talk all that shit before and after, or maybe right at the end, you kind of gloat a little bit.
Well, but, you know,
for the most part,
you back it up and, you know, walk the walk type thing.
Yeah.
And she didn't walk the walk, so.
But I'm saying most competitors, like last week, the previous episode rather, Yes and Wes, none of them wanted to lose, but you hang your head high and be like, you know, hey, you were the better man today, like that.
Yeah,
like
there's a thing of respect.
Like I still hate you, but you earned it. That's kind of like what the arena stands for. All the shit talk usually should be from upstairs or after, you know what I mean, when they get back in the house. Usually in that arena, you should hold the integrity of the arena. And you know what, Sylvia, sadly, you didn't do it. And I do remember in her confessional, she said something about coming back. So she assumes she's coming back. I don't know if the fans want that. I'm sorry. Moving on. And I'm sure Sylvia's sweet and cute and warm and fuzzy and all those things. So if you like
And
Sylvia,
like we said, in the heat of the moment, we don't know. So maybe
yeah.
it was just.
That's true. I remember the last time I told someone "fuck off, Kellyanne," and I felt really good about myself.
I think it was to me yesterday. No.
Yes, yeah. And he was just asking, "Hey, do you
I was
want to?"
like, my name's not Kellyanne.
He's like, "Do you want a Coca-Cola Classic?" Like, I just wanted to know if you wanted a soda. I'm like, "Fuck off, Kellyanne." Put it on a T-shirt. So in the men's round, you've got Derek. Derek finishes the puzzle first, and he starts taking shots. This has got to be stressful for MJ because even though in theory it's hard to make that the shot in general, you got to be like, sort of making errors where you're trying to get that last star. And that's kind of what had happened. And MJ struggled with it. I don't even think he got out of that position to start taking a shot as well. And then Derek does win. The only thing that he was doing was he was creating those divots, I guess was the name of it, which were in front of the hole because he was getting close and the dirt was clumping up in front.
Yeah, so the ball's going bounce sideways. Like, don't run up in front and make your own divots. I mean, you want, if you do make the divots, smooth it out before you take your shot. But
which was the only
MJ was so far behind, I guess he couldn't find the maze. He couldn't find his way out of the maze. So
yeah, I was happy for Derek because I like to see that. Well, for one, he finally won, and then he was very happy, which was good to see.
He kept saying, "Give me them stars! Give me them stars!"
And he didn't overly gloat. He just was like proud.
He kind of did. but the way Derek does, he's so like energetic and everything. So it's kind of funny.
MJ's last comments are, "Brad, I hope you don't win in the final." So this could be an ongoing grudge. And I think
he also said no hard feelings, but I hope you don't. I don't know. I haven't decided if this is like I think you were about to say like ongoing thing or just for this type of challenge.
Yeah, well, it was one. Well, I don't know. Maybe not really defining it, but saying they're both like, if Brad wins and they're competitive with each other, I'm happy. If MJ wins, they're competitive with each other, I'm happy. I don't have like a side that I like love more.
It's definitely a little rivalry, but I could see them teaming up, say, if they were like against a newer cast. But like Brad had said it, like I've known Mark forever. I've known Wes and Nehemiah, they're my boys, and been to their weddings. And Derek, so he just has people that he had a lot of good relationships coming in to this game. And MJ was just the one he had kind of the least amount of relationship with.
And going forward, this exchange they had could only build an opportunity for them to now have that camaraderie, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, because Brad's gone up against all those guys before against them, and now the older they got, like they've known each other, and so it always depends on who the cast is and who you're closest with and stuff like that.
It's very challenge form, meaning you earn the respect sometimes off the back of like the anger you had in the competitor. Jordan and Wes, they've been through a lot. They still probably don't like each other or don't trust each other, but they're like, have a mutual respect. And I think that's kind of what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe even next season or another season, yes, and Wes will maybe not trust each other, but they'll like kind of have each other's back just because they kind of went through it. So I was glad to see MJ leave. Not glad, but I like, it's moved along the game. And as I was saying before, when I was devastated that Yes went, it just means the stakes are high. We got to cut people. For this to be a fun show. And it was great. I don't know how Janae is going to feel about this because she just does not, this was, he was a great resource for her.
Maybe we should ask Beth.
No, we're not bringing that up again. I can't believe Beth did it. Beth, go back to your Los Angeles
Beth.
season 2 in the 90s. So essentially, Nia and Derek are our winners. They're one step closer to the final. And we kind of talked about a second ago, like were some of those challenge moments in the arena personal or not? And they're just not. This is what the game is. We love the game. Richard, confessional person of the day. I want you to do your nomination for that. I'll do my nomination for that. And then if we've got a little time on your hands and you don't have to run, I wanted to get your thoughts on like the Challenge USA coming up and just some of the cast members that we saw, because that is indeed happening. We really just covered the Challenge All-Stars 3, but we may be able to dip in depending on the schedule and lend our opinions for the Challenge USA. But we'll talk about that after. Confessional person of the day, what are you feeling right now?
I had an idea when I was rewatching it for the second time who I was going to go with, but then I started seeing one person with confessional after confessional, and I totally changed my mind watching it the second time, and I'm going to go with Kellyanne.
Oh, that's great. Oh, clap it up. Boom, 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 boom.
Hey!
Kellyanne, round of applause.
I mean,
I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, just from start to finish, she started saying like the treehouse has been on her back the whole time, and she's waiting to make a big move, which was almost like a foreshadowing of what happened. And then you go to the challenge, and she's like, "I own 3 paddleboards, and this is nothing. I got this," and like little things here and there. But also with like just telling when she's talking to Sylvia and Sylvia's being mean and they're should we be in line? She's like, she ain't offer me anything. Like I like those little confessionals.
Yeah.
And then the one that won me over was at the end. She's like, it's not fun to watch people going home, but I am wearing black for Sylvia's funeral. I was like, drop the mic.
That's a little too much, though. That was
I was like, all right, because she did like a nice like with a laugh and a giggle. I was like, oh man.
She usually does her kind of snarky confessionals like with the grim, on her face. She's kind of smiling or winking at the camera, so to speak. Yeah, no, I've seen that with her. That's a good choice. Mine was actually going to be Derek, though, Richard.
That's who I was coming in with.
Okay, so I was going to go with Bionic Brad and his bionic beard takes first place. Not because it's the most interesting thing, but ironically, I think it was you and I, we were just talking about beards the other day, how if we like them or if we don't. And I was like, and you even mentioned, I think in the conversation, you're like, you mean like Brad's beard? I was like, yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. So the fact that came up in a confessional, because it is a bionic beard and a bionic Brad, I just thought it was funny. And then another part that I liked about it is his confessional was sort of exciting. You got the sense of like Derek in the competition trying to win and damn it, Brad and your bionic beard. So for me, that was going to be my confessional person of the day.
I would give him definitely the confessional, like he had the single one, and that was my original. And I had wrote down the Bionic Brad and Bionic Beard, and then when he lost, he's like, I suck at puzzles.
Yeah,
because he's just got the energy.
And he jumped through the puzzle.
Yeah, and he jumped through it, and he's like, What? You're going to pick me when he gets picked for the elimination?
Yeah.
I just didn't find enough of them.
Oh, gotcha. So quantity, yeah.
But his quality was top notch.
Can I tell you a bonus he could have done to equate that success? And Kellyanne was, by the way, also killing it. So you are so right about that. She said, Kayla looks really lonely by herself.
See, like she just
that was good. That was good. But
because I was coming in with Derek. I was like, Derek's the one, but I didn't get enough Derek. But when he was A+, 100% on the ones he was on.
I have a bonus which would have made Derek win in your eyes even. And I think it's a missed opportunity. If you're gonna film production, timeout production, hold. Yeah. Hold the work. So if
Boona Murray.
Yeah. Everyone turn your walkie to 2. All right, we're on channel 2. Ronnie's talking. Listen. No, missed opportunity. This would have ensured Derek's confessional person of the week. You should have done something, and maybe we'll see it next episode, but I don't know how this could be done because he already did it. All he did was jump through his puzzle, and it did look good. It was interesting. That should have been for next week on previously on the challenge. Jump through the puzzle. I was like, oh my gosh, did somebody not stop him? Wait, let's get that for a previously on. So that's a missed opportunity.
So yeah, no. So who we going? I'm
I just gave you a
kind
whole
of
like bonus points, and you're like, back
no.
to the stats.
It
Who are
could
we
be,
choosing?
but
Let's choose Kellyanne. Let's choose Kellyanne. Let's choose Kellyanne. I like a lot of what Derek said. His excitement is really trickling over, but we got to choose Kellyanne because she did win. She battled back. She hasn't had many alliances with her. She's making smart moves. Like, listen, no, I'm not. Naya's not up for grabs. Like Naya's not an opportunity. Like Sylvia, you better start thinking of something else because
yeah.
Naya's not a choice.
And it kind of changes the show a little bit.
Yeah, so it was her show. It was her episode. Yeah. So not only is she a confessional person of the episode of the week, but she was probably the top player of the week too. She gave great TV, and good for her. And she shared stuff too. Remember, I didn't. You may have known from watching other challenges or just hearing around, internet or whatever. But I was not aware of those things she suffers from with the mold and the metal and stuff like that. So round of applause for our potential rescue sanctuary lady and all of her dreams. How are you feeling about the episode in its last couple episodes? We're getting close.
I feel like we got to be getting closer. We got 6 episodes in, correct? 6, and
Yeah.
if next week's the last sabotage, you figure maybe the last sabotage, go in, elimination, and then they might do something with the stars for the last one right before the final.
Stars, and we did see the preview on episode 1 of some bananas showing up. So there's still a lot of game left to be played, and we'll be watching. Richard, I can't wait to
Who do you
talk.
think's the front runner for the guy and the girl to win the game? Who's in the best spot?
Brad is in a great spot. I mean, I guess it's kind of cliche to say that because he won right now. Brad is in a good spot. Mark Long's in a pretty good spot too because of the connections he has. It's going to be kind of. I mean, well, when they had six authorities, they did throw him in, so maybe that washes. But those are my top 2, I would say. There for the women, it really could be like a sneak attack. It could be like a. Naya's got the great relationship with Jordan, and then she's kind of flown under the radar. Maybe there could be something there. I don't know what I feel about the Veronica, Ronnie, and Kayla, treehouse. That's not as strong. I'm not really sure. So it'll be interesting. Did you have any opinions on that?
Yeah, I think you're right about Brad. He's in best spot, and it's not just because he won, but I think if any of those guys win, they're not calling him in or putting him up
Yeah.
because he's got good relationships and he's a good competitor. So if you go down there, you're not going to want. Now that MJ's out, like no one else is going to want to call him out.
True.
And for the girls, I think now it's Naya. Because if any of the treehouse win, they'll probably go after Kellyanne more because she's smaller.
Mm.
And they've been gunning after her. And then if it's Kellyanne or Naya that wins, I think they're going after Kayla because she's going to be the hardest one to beat in the final.
I'm also interested to see if Veronica,
so I think that puts Veronica in a good spot too, but
almost as a default though.
Yeah.
Try to get Kayla out because she's more of a threat.
Yeah, so that's why they're going after Kellyanne. So that's why I think, Naya and Veronica. Ronnie is, I don't think anyone's going to go after her. If she stays in the middle. She could kind of like even distance herself if she needs to from the treehouse, or if she doesn't need to, she could kind of stay on the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, We'll be watching episode 7. It's coming up. Any overall thoughts on Challenge USA cast? It is here. It's going to be happening. It's breaking down Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race, and the one that doesn't really fit in, Love Island.
Oh, it fits in if you watched it.
Love Island. All these cast members, ranging from different numbers in terms of each cast, that are going to make this one big team of what, 20 something players for the Challenge USA. I think it will be good. I think from what I saw, some of the casting was pretty good. Overall, did you have any thoughts, or will you be watching it, or do you feel like it's going to feel like a different show entirely?
Well, being that I watch Love Island, Big Brother,
Big Brother, we watch
Survivor,
yeah. You watch
and
Survivor.
Amazing Race.
Shit.
I mean, I'm all for this. You put the challenge, my favorite of all those shows, but you're putting people in all shows that I like as well. I'm good to go. I'm good to go.
I can't wait to see the trailer. I can't wait to see where they are. Obviously, there's all the leaks on the internet, but we're not wasting our times going on Reddits or spoiler pages. That's the one thing that we try to do consistently on the show. We are just reacting to the show itself. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to waste no time with all the other stuff. And the same thing with Challenge USA. It's exciting. It's a great thing for CBS. It really ties all the series together and really makes CBS quite a strong place for reality TV. Looks like NBC, kind of is quiet on that end, and ABC, they're quiet on that end. So maybe there'll be new shows over there soon too. You just never know. But I like it, and I think that's such an amazing opportunity for TJ to now cross over to the, Julie Chen and TJ kind of got the summer in their pockets. There'll be another Love Island, which will be voiced over by Matthew Hoffman. So that's great for him. Another win for him. And yeah, CBS has really got it going on right now.
Yeah, and then you figure these are all new people that maybe they're thinking use this as into the feeder system of the flagship show, since it's pretty much similar. But yeah, you get to see these people against some, people who haven't played before, and then if they do well enough, see how they do versus the likes of Giant Bananas or CT or Fessy or any of those type of guys.
That's true, because right now it's just good competition. And sure, everyone's smart. Everyone's thinking 10 steps ahead. But it's a different ball game when you go into that almost dark energy type of manipulation that goes on the regular challenge flagship. So this is more healthy competition. But yeah, it definitely will be a feeder series. And I think a lot of these shows are going to kind of trickle over.
And a couple of the shows kind of have similar traits that have even brought a different type of play, if you've seen with Fessy and Casey, because the Big Brother people have done pretty well in it, because that type of game and Survivor, especially those two out of the Amazing Race and Love Island, those two especially have a lot of manipulation, lying to the face, not worrying about stuff, and that very well plays into the challenge. And like, if the more you could kind of like play your scenario without people knowing what you're really thinking, is a dangerous tool in the regular challenge.
That, and giving a lot of decoy sentences, like giving things that are throwaways, but really allow you to gain trust too. Stuff like that. Yeah, you really got to finesse it. If you were called by CBS tomorrow, ring, hi, this is CBS. Oh, hi, my name's Richard. And they said, hey, Richard, we would like to put you on one CBS show, Big Brother, Amazing Race, Love Island, or Survivor. Which one are you choosing?
Let's see, which one's like, is there like a Joe Millionaire show or something that could be just treated in luxury?
But wouldn't that Don't you have to have the millions that we just don't seem to have? Is there something I don't know? I mean, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this podcast on budget? Shit.
I'm asking, is there something like that? No.
And next season, a game called How Well Do You Know Your Brother?
Millionaire Rich. I guess I would go with Amazing Race because as much as I love Big Brother and as much as I love Survivor, those are tough games. So you don't get away and you guys sleep in the same room as other people or in the elements. Where like Amazing Race, you get the little competition, but it's like traveling through the world as well, and you get to see some really cool stuff and win some really cool prizes.
You get to see cool stuff and also learn stuff. I think even when the host was named Phil, when he's always announcing different things, you know, like you kind of get to be a part of that. Yeah, you don't blink really because you're moving so fast on the race, but when it's all said and done, you get such a nourished experience. Being in, you know, CBS, you know, studios for Big Brother is like fun, but you don't get like this, you know, nurtured experience of traveling the world. So I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seems like in those other shows you make relationships that last forever because you're spending so much time and there's nothing else to do. But so that would be really cool in those. But if you give me a choice, let me compete a little bit and let me win some cool stuff.
There it is. This has been another random recap. We thank anyone who's been listening because there's a lot of Challenge All-Stars recaps that are out there. And this one was unique and different. Two brothers that don't necessarily have a lot of interests that are similar, coming together on real world road rules type challenge. Commentary did make sense. I've been in radio forever. My brother has not done this type of work. So this was like the perfect little thing. And I'm very proud of what we've done. And I always state, if you did want to support, patreon.com/randomlyRonnie Jr., patreon.com/randomlyRonnie Jr. Just another way to like support the channel, because if the channel is supported, we could do other bits of programming. Like I said, the first real world interview I just did was with Cyrus, and I believe I've got another one from an early, let's say, first 5 seasons, real worlder that I'll be interviewing that will be available probably next week by this time. So there's not much sleep around here. We're getting a lot of shit done. I think I'm ready for the challenge. Direct from podcast, from the couch to TJ's final. Let's go.
It's funny you say TJ because I think he's calling my name. All right, TJ, I'll be right over. Production's calling. Gotta go.
Gotta run.
You guys have a good one.
Bye.
TJ!
Hey, Ronnie Jr.